Hi, I'm Kristen Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? And we are back with Jenny Bicks. It's so much fun to have her here. Yay! All right, Jenny, I want to talk to you because every different person that I've had on from the show, I ask about the beginning, and I learn something new every time. It is amazing. So for you, take us back. 1997, 1998.
Yes.
How did you come about being a writer on our show?
Oh, my goodness. It was such a thunderbolt of luck is what happened. So I had worked on a little CBS sitcom called The Five Mrs. Buchanans.
Okay.
With Michael Patrick.
Oh.
Or actually, he would come in one day a week as the punch-up guy. He was super scary. He would walk in and have like his whole script of notes.
Wow.
And you would be like, oh my God, this guy is so good.
Yeah.
And he's pitching all these amazing jokes. And then he would disappear.
Oh my God.
But obviously, I made some kind of impression on him. Maybe just my scared face every time he would walk in. And when they were a couple episodes in, I got a call from Michael in on Sex and the City. I got a call from him saying, hey, listen, we're doing this kind of crazy show. I think you'd be really perfect to write it. Come and write an episode with us.
And you were in LA.
I was in LA, and I had just finished up on Seinfeld.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think, I was trying to recall, but I think there wasn't an episode yet for me to watch because it was that early. So I think they probably sent me the pilot episode. And I, script, and I read it, and I was like, my head kind of blew off because I was like, what is this? We've never talked about things like this. It's written differently. I'm fascinated. It's me. It's not me. Women in their early 30s dating. That was me. So I said, of course I will do this fantastic thing. And Michael and Darren and I got together and started throwing around ideas and ended up with what became Three's a Crowd.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that was your first episode. And did you were just brought on to do that one episode?
I was brought on to do that episode, and then after that to consult. So after that, I was working on the remainder of the episodes. And then I stayed, because why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
I mean.
Absolutely. And in my mind, because I have the most weird memories of the first season, like very hit and miss. Like even just rewatching, I was like, I do not remember hardly any of this, which is rare. Okay. But like for me, I don't remember you coming as early as you came, because I had said right away when we started the podcast, I need to have Jenny Bicks on, but I want to wait till her episode comes, and I'm worried that it's not till second season, because in my mind, you guys didn't come till later.
Right.
But I think also because we weren't together all the time in the beginning in the way that we were later.
I could not agree more.
Okay.
I think what happened was we were all kind of separated doing our jobs, trying to figure it all out. And it wasn't until second season that we started to actually all spend more time together on set. I mean, it was such a wacky time that first season. Like we were all over New York.
Yeah.
We were shooting all night.
All night.
Was, and I know we will talk a little more about my episode in particular, but we were always in strange places shooting that you never see again and that were kind of janky.
Right.
Like we definitely didn't have the money we did.
Oh my God.
We
no.
would stand on street corners and people would come up and say, what are you shooting? And we'd say, oh, it's this show called Sex and the City. And they'd be like, oh, Real Sex on HBO?
Exactly.
Everyone thought it was Real Sex on HBO. It's like, no, it's not. No shade to that fantastic documentary style show.
With actual sex.
With actual sex. But people really had no idea who we were. And that was the beauty ultimately of working on that show, is that for like a good 2 years, people didn't know. We were shooting long before we aired,
100%,
which is the other thing that I had kind of forgotten, was when we shot that first season, it wasn't on TV.
No.
We didn't know what it would be.
No.
We were just
we didn't know anything. And I feel what I remember was the excitement of doing something different.
Yes.
And it didn't fit any mold of my previous experience. And I was a guest star on Seinfeld. I was a guest star on the Larry Sanders Show. Very different, but very fun. I'd been around Melrose, obviously, which was a very like regular soap opera, many episodes,
right?
All of that, many cast members, all of those things. But nothing was like our show. Nothing had the subject matter, but nothing had the style. Nothing was in New York in that way. The only thing that was in New York was either like a sitcom on a stage or Law and Order.
Or a cop show.
Yeah. That was it.
Right.
There was no, glamorous women stomping around in heels.
No, and I think it's hard for, you talk to, the beauty now is that there are younger women and men finding our show.
Yeah.
But to try to explain to them how new it was,
right,
in terms of the subject matter and women talking the way they talked, and even the writing style, like it felt like shooting a little indie movie,
didn't it?
Yeah, every week, which is what great training. I mean, as a writer, it trained me in a whole other way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did HBO, do you remember HBO's kind of notes or thought process or what they would say to you guys?
Well, bless their hearts. They left us alone.
That's what I thought.
They really left us alone.
Which is kind of amazing to think about.
It would not happen now.
No.
And it was just one more thing that made it kind of a lightning in a bottle. So we were doing this thing, and God knows, and I'm sure you'll speak with or have spoken with some HBO folks. It'd be interesting to get their perspective.
I need Strauss on.
Yeah. I mean, Strauss would tell you, all I know is whatever notes we got were so legitimate and so specific. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it was things like, we just need another scene shot outdoors, like literally a production question. Right. But they let us do what we were doing.
Amazing.
And
do you feel, because Michael was already there and Darren obviously was there because he created it, but I remember that sometimes that first season, because we hadn't seen the light of day, right? And no one did really know, including ourselves, what we actually were. And Michael hadn't really fully, he was in there, but he hadn't taken over, right? And I remember one time Darren would say, we've got to be funnier. And then a different week, he'd be like, everyone has to be sexier. And I'd just be like, oh my God, what does he mean? What? Do you remember that kind of feeling?
Totally. And that was so much harder on you all than it was for me as a writer. So that
pressure wasn't applied to you guys?
No, I think we, it wasn't really we, it was me. I felt a little more protected in the writing, but I could see the pressure that was being put on you all as performers. And it was a lot. I mean, I remember him racing out of a meeting that I was having with him and Michael because he was convinced somebody, and I think it was I'm sure it was a coffee shop scene, somebody wasn't eating a chocolate chip cookie correctly.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. It was an eating note. Oh my God, if I don't show them now, and he must have been editing because he must have been watching something on film. Do you remember him? Maybe you were not the problem.
I hope I was not eating a cookie incorrectly.
But it was such a specific kind of continuity, if you're going to do this, you have to eat it this way.
Wow. You know what I think that probably might have had to do with, and I have seen Darren since I started the podcast. I asked Darren to be on at the beginning. He was very busy writing.
Okay, good.
Then I saw him and I was like, Darren, I need you on the podcast because you created the show. You need to be on the beginning. He was like, I'll come. But he hasn't come yet. So he's in trouble till he comes. But
he's in the doghouse.
Yes, he is in the doghouse. Because we came from this crazy world of spelling, which I've really been thinking about, because when you look back at things, you have so many different thoughts and perspective on the whole thing. Spelling had so many rules. He had rules about how each character could wear their hair, and you couldn't change your hair unless you got previous written approval from Mr. Spelling.
Wow.
No joke. The reason I know this is because one time I had to be in a convertible and I had my super long hair before they made me cut it for Sex and the City. And it wasn't allowed to be clipped or pinned or in any way. And it was just
that's so Spelling. It's so Spelling.
And he wouldn't let me put it back in any way. I was like, how am I supposed to go on?
Because he knew that your blowing hair would be that's the thing.
Guess, but then how continuity-wise, I'd have to have a rat's nest or whatever. But no, it was going to get brushed secretly. You know what I mean? It was just a weird thing. So if I had a barrette, the set would stop and phone calls would be made.
And you'd have a barrette meeting.
Do you mean there'd be a barrette phone call would happen, a conference call, whatever. So I think some of that bled over into Darren's thinking. But then I also think what happened, and we'd have to ask him, of course, but once Pat came, and really started to do her magic, which took some time because we had no money. No one knew what we were doing. I look at the clothes the first season. I'm like, what are we literally wearing?
But you all looked adorable.
I mean, it's adorable. But yes, it's so 90s. It is
not what the show became.
No, I mean, I talked to Molly. Molly came on. I'm wearing theory suits.
Right.
It's hysterical.
Right.
With tights, black
Listen,
coats.
It was a different time.
It really was.
It was a different time. We didn't have the money. I mean, I was thinking about that in my episode when you go to the masked ball.
Yeah.
And theoretically, you're in kind of mansion that, one of those party mansions. And then suddenly you're upstairs in the jankiest little bedroom. Like, who has a little bedroom at a party mansion?
Miranda's set with those green walls. She has 2 green flats. Yeah. Like, when did Miranda have like a emerald green apartment?
We did what we had to do. We didn't have a lot of money.
But I love that about it. You forget until you look back. And also, like, it begins on that, like, grainy, out of focus shot of Empire and Chrysler Building. You're just like, can we see them? Maybe. It's super interesting. Yeah. Okay, so back to you. Yes. Okay, so you're here in LA. Yes. You go to New York.
I go to New York to shoot the episode. I think I was with the guys here for a little bit, and then I went to New York, and Nicole Holofcener directs the episode. Exactly. By the way, also, what an amazing director.
Amazing. I can't believe we got her.
I can't believe it. And a delight as a person, and so talented. And so I am suddenly on this set of this little indie film, standing in, my New York that I'd grown up in, shooting this little gem of a bizarre show where women are allowed to say what they want and talk about what they want. It was...
And you loved it?
Loved every second of it.
So at what point, in terms of the writing of the first script, did they say to you, like, you need to have experience with this, or you need to know someone with this story, or, the whole thing?
Yes. You're talking about kind of, and I'll just say it again in case your listeners have forgotten, but we had a pretty sacrosanct rule, which was really smart, which was that we would never write about something, especially something sexual in nature, unless we knew one person that had gone through it, because we didn't want to make it just like a weird prurient like this. We did reject some stories. I don't know if anyone's spoken about it already, but we had a couple stories we went down the road with, like in the 4th season, we talked about doing a story about a guy with a penile implant. Like one of those penis
like you
pumps.
See the ads for? Uh-huh.
Well, I don't. Did you see an ad for it? They're like implanted. Did you? What are you watching? Oh my God. Okay,
I've heard of it.
Little window into you.
Wait. But you're talking about like a surgical...
A penis pump. See, this is why we wouldn't write about it. Because everyone's like, what? What is that? Yes. And apparently there is like a celebrity that there's kind of gossip around whether or not they have one. Is this new to everybody?
Yes!
But that was one where we said, you know what? We can't tell that story because we didn't know anyone. None of us had encountered such a thing.
Got it.
It seemed... But certainly at the time, and it's ironic right now, that threesomes were kind of a thing people were talking about. And now it's like such an accepted, beyond, now we're into polyamory and all the things we would write about now.
Yes.
Which I wish, we'll often joke, like we wish we had the show now to write about this next version of things.
Absolutely.
And you do have Michael's show, so you can talk about it, but it's different. You're not 30 and single.
Exactly.
So
people sometimes ask me why it's not more similar, and I'm like, that would be possibly sad.
That would do you know what I'm saying? Different.
Like it's a different time in life. It's a different time in life. We're not 32.
We're not anymore.
No.
Though we look it.
You're adorable.
Yeah. But threesomes were the thing we were talking about, and what was fun about that episode in retrospect too is that it fit the theme really well. And when we are able to find like a kind of sexual thing that also becomes thematic for our characters, it was perfect. So we had a situation. I think
that was the first show that actually successfully did that.
Is that right?
For me, because I've now started at the beginning. Because remember what we ended up with was her voiceover would connect to everybody with the theme, right?
Yes.
So it would be like, and then downtown, Samantha was doing blah, blah, blah. And it would connect to the theme. And uptown, Charlotte was doing blah, blah. But that took a while to really get it going.
And I would argue, it probably took us into mid-second season to really figure out. I mean, we still had the talking heads in mind, which my talking heads were a little different, and I would argue worked a little better just because they were ads.
And they were shorter.
Which
was good.
We can talk more about the talking heads, but we definitely were... It was a relief to let go of them.
Definitely.
When we did.
Definitely.
Because they were taking up too much time from you all. Like, we just wanted more stories with our main characters.
And poor Sarah had to not have to turn to the camera.
Well, that was a whole... the breaking of the fourth wall. And
it's hard.
I don't know how she did it.
Me neither. I don't know how she did it to me so seamlessly. She doesn't feel that way, of course.
Right.
But also the last episode, she's in her apartment by herself and she turns and talks to the camera.
Yeah.
What?
It's like, who is that?
Who's she talking to?
Who are you talking to?
And also her voiceover is going, so she's already talking to herself, but in her head, like it's weird.
It's loony.
But it's also kind of fun.
Yes.
You know?
And did it well and was very unique. But I think there were certain artifice things we had with the show to start that we were relying on that we realized we didn't have to. And that happens with a lot of shows. When you start, you think we have to have this thing.
Right.
And then you realize, oh, people just want to watch the characters. They want to watch you all.
Right, but thank God we had that freedom also. Where we didn't have to stick and you could develop this idea of having the theme. And at that point, were they talking about things from Candace's book and columns still, or were you guys just like freely?
We were moving past that in the certainly in my episode, we had already introduced Big. We knew who Big was, and that was really all we needed. The idea that Big, and I should know this, and I don't know whether in Candace's book, I don't think Big had a wife. I don't think Big had an ex-wife.
I don't remember that.
But that's a question to find out an answer to.
Yes.
But in this case, we did introduce the ex-wife. And I think was probably the only time where we did that kind of odd, she was this ghost.
And she was in the bed with them.
She was in the bed with them.
Cool.
She was on the street. It was great.
I liked it.
It was really cool. But we never really did something like that again.
Right. We tried stuff out.
We were trying. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was experimental
Do you
theater.
remember that Sarah Jessica Carey levitates from Fifth Avenue in like the second episode?
Yes.
I was like, what am I saying? I have to rewind. I mean, the stuff we tried is crazy.
Yeah, but we had the freedom to.
Yeah, which is amazing.
And we trusted each other, I think, enough to go for it.
Right.
And we trusted you all to be able to roll with it. No, well, that's a big deal.
Thank you. So let's go back to your episode.
Okay.
So you're in LA and you're writing with the other writers that we never really met.
Well, no, I was really only with
Michael.
Darren and Michael.
Yeah, okay, got it. So the others were already gone.
Yes.
Because they were kind of just like, they sent scripts in. I don't know.
Well, they were consulting, I think, for a little bit, but were not by the point that I was in there. So it was really just the three of us sitting in a room,
and you're like the beginning of what would then become really our
the core
of executive producer writers, with us every day. Which people never really understood, right? That you were very, very much a part of the daily experience and very, like we went to you about everything, about every word, but also about costumes and, so many different things, which I think when I also look back on it, it's kind of so special and rare that you just don't have just one person, but you have this group. That's involved.
It was really special. And it was special for us as writers because, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but having come through the world of sitcoms, we were very isolated from the performers.
Right.
Like you would go down for run-through, but then it would be like, oh my God, we have to go write some more jokes or rewrite a scene. And there was not this, nobody was coaxing us together, nor was there a reason to be together.
Right.
And this was a show where we all were we were all a big group.
Yeah, a team.
And whoever was
Yeah.
around on set, if you had a question about something, you could come to us and
Which
say,
was amazing.
Hey, what does this mean? Or, oh my God, I can't wear this skirt,
Right.
And
like that, yeah.
But you always wore skirts well. You
You're
were
sweet.
a very good
You're
skirt
sweet.
wearer.
Oh, thank you.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
true.
I had to, find my way to what Pat wanted.
We all did.
Yeah.
But it was a place where we all worked together for the greater good. And I think that's what made it as good as it was.
100%.
And you all would have thoughts on what was great was by the time we hit second season, you all very much knew your characters. So it was, you would say to us, hey, listen, I think I would say it this way. Or what if, do you know that I actually said that same thing a couple episodes? Yeah, there were a couple times where we got caught.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good because of the collaborative nature of it, right? Because you weren't even those of us, we didn't have, like, I think Sarah was a consultant in the beginning, Sarah Jessica, and then obviously increased her role in the production side of it. But the rest of us had no credits or in that way, but were very much included, talked to in a respectful and an inclusive way about what do you think, do you like the storyline? Like Michael would include us, Darren would include us, we could go to you guys with anything. And that's such a great situation.
Yeah, that's the situation I think all of us are still trying to recreate in some ways,
right? I know.
That's not the well, it's funny because Julie and Elisa, who are two,
thank God.
a team of writers who came on in season 4, two ladies who are
remember when they came.
delightful,
So delightful.
But now I've forgotten what I was about to say about
Julie and
when they
Lisa.
showed up and can't remember. I'll come back
That's
to
okay.
it.
The group dynamic that we're
Yeah.
all trying to get back to.
Yes. So thank you. When they showed up, they hadn't done as much TV as we had. And we kept having to say to them, you cannot assume this is the way things are. Don't assume it's going to be this way, because it was such a special experience.
Yeah.
And once you have gone through a bunch of experiences that aren't as great and then you land there, you
Right.
kind of don't ever want to do anything else.
I know. Well, thus us all doing and just like that
Yes,
together.
exactly, which is such a pleasure.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you had left us by that point and gone and done The Greatest Showman and sort of other things, which we will talk about. But, you know, and your own thing, which I remember because you and Cindy at a certain point were, you know, executive producers and like very high up in our whatever hierarchy. Not that that really made a difference because you were always so important to us, but it was so great when you guys did get these deals. We wanted you to succeed,
Well,
but we
I
were
went
sad
away
to
in
lose you.
season 5 and
Yeah.
did my first TV show, which was great to have that opportunity. And then I came back in season 6, which was
nice.
perfect. So
Yeah.
I got a chance, and thankfully everyone welcomed me back
Of
with
course.
open arms. Well, that, you know, again, we were a family, and that was
100%.
it was lovely.
But I think also for us actors, you know, so much weird pressure was put on us in terms of the publicity and everything, and they didn't really understand. Like they always thought that was our stories, right?
Right.
Which of course they weren't. That would be so awkward to be playing your own stories, right?
right.
They were your guys' stories or someone you knew. Which I don't know why we didn't just honestly tell everyone in the beginning. But you know, like back then, you kind of felt like you had to protect or somehow shield whatever. Now everyone's just very upfront about everything. But I remember always thinking, you know, we're the face, but we're supported by this group of women. And then they thought it was only Michael and Darren, right? But it was really you guys, you know, and like at one point, I think we had 6 women writers.
We never had 6, but we had we had 5.
Right. Close
enough.
Because sometimes in my mind too, like you left, but in my mind, you weren't really gone. You know what I'm trying to say?
I was
Then you
never
came back.
really gone.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Right. So like it wasn't, like I wouldn't look at the paper and be like, oh, Jenny's not listed here. You know what I'm saying? Like you were always part of everyone was part of the, once you were in, you were in. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Which was the joy of it. Okay, so, I mean, many joys, so much, but definitely that was part of it. Okay, so back to Three's a Crowd.
Yes.
So you're there, you're with us. We're filming your episode.
We're filming
in crazy places.
In crazy places that I've only walked on in my life and never on a set. And you leave your body. You're kind of like, this is unbelievable that I'm on the, you know, Fifth Avenue, sitting in the midst of it all with like, you know, truckers yelling at us. And not our truckers, sorry.
Right.
But
regular
people trying to do their jobs. And I get it. But we were blocking the way.
Yep.
You know, it got a little easier as we got bigger that folks let us.
It took a while, but yeah, for
There's a
sure.
lot
In
of
the
yelling.
beginning, also, remember how we would like take our big lights and like walk them down the street to a different location? Like we were so guerrilla.
We were so guerrilla.
Right?
In fact, in my episode, in that first episode, we were so guerrilla that the episode ended up being shorter. They thought it was going to come in shorter than they wanted.
Oh.
And so we were shooting on the street, and I think it must have been your walk and talk with SJ that day because we were on that street. My hair's too shiny.
It's
I mean,
so
that's
good.
you also delivered it
but right
so perfectly.
before that, I say, how well do we ever know the people that we sleep
and
with?
And that's really the essence of the episode. But we were there standing there, and I remember Michael or Darren coming up to me and saying, you have to write another scene. We need another scene.
Oh, no.
We have to have it in this location. We're on this street, you know, because it had to match with what we had available production-wise. And I was like, what? Can you imagine, by the way, that happening any other time but middle of first season?
No.
And I went away and wrote this scene where Ken runs into Samantha.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was good.
And the wife.
Yeah.
But I wrote that, like, no one saw. I was like, does anyone have to approve this? No, we're just going to shoot it. I was like, okay, I've never heard of such a thing.
How great.
And we shot it. But
it
that
was really good.
That was the kind of thing we could get away with.
Wow.
Which we would never,
Wow.
do that.
So after that first episode, so we were picked up for 13. Then we had to go on the air and everything. I don't really remember when we got picked up for more or whatever. Like, what was your...
my memory, I know we weren't picked up. Basically, the season ended, and no one knew what was going to happen because it hadn't aired.
Wow.
We didn't know if there would be a second season. And so I came back to LA, And I was like, I guess I need to get a job. And so, but I didn't want to take a job where I would have to then leave if we got picked up. So I ended up consulting 2 days a week on Dawson's Creek, which was so much fun.
How 90s!
It was so nice. It was peak
Wow,
90s.
wow.
And so peak 90s that Mike White and I were the two consultants.
Oh my God.
And we had a blast.
I love Mike White so much.
And Mike, to this day, a dear friend.
A dream.
But it was
That's
really
insane.
Wow. And then, and it was also kind of peak Dawson's Creek time, too.
Wow.
And I had not really watched the show, but I really enjoyed, it was the first time I'd written a 1 hour show.
Uh-huh.
So I'd gone from sitcom to writing this Sex and the City, which was like so outside the box for me, but real people talking. And then I go and write a 1 hour that's more real people talking. And then the show got picked up.
Got it.
I think we didn't air, gosh, I should know this, when we aired the first season. But I know that we certainly didn't know that we had a second season until the end of the summer, at least.
Wow.
Of that summer.
I think we aired the first season like June of 98.
Right.
And I don't really remember. I think I just assumed in my very Charlotte type way that we were going. Do you know what I mean? I don't remember anxiety of not thinking we would go.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I didn't think so either. I mean, I really felt like this kind of has to be a thing.
Yeah.
If not, I don't know what to believe anymore because it was
100%.
so special.
Right.
And then we did get picked up and it was amazing. But then it was still only
right here. Did you guys have a writer's room here?
Yes, we
back
did.
Then?
Mm-hmm.
And Cindy? When did Cindy come?
Cindy came mid to late second season.
Oh, got it.
So it was just Darren, Michael, and myself.
Unbelievable.
And it was unbelievable and hilarious because there was a lot of me explaining certain parts of the female anatomy. There was definitely a moment where I had to draw on the whiteboard. And I don't have to, all I'll say is Darren kept saying, there's a part of the female anatomy that's very important for female pleasure. And he kept saying, in this thing. And I was like, it's not, there's no in. You don't go, you definitely don't go in it. You don't go in, Darren. And so I'm proud to say I did draw.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, it's probably the best drawing. I'm a very bad drawer, but it was very specific.
Oh my God.
So there, I got to teach him a little something. So there
Really
were some
funny.
elements of discussion of that.
I'm so glad you were there.
I'm happy to have done that.
Yes,
for all female kind.
You gave service. You provided service for all of us. I appreciate that. So then I was second when we did like a lot of episodes. Like at a certain point, we did a lot.
We did
of
more.
episodes.
Yeah,
How
or
on
it
earth?
felt like we did more.
Right? No, I think we actually did.
And we kind
more.
of hit the ground running. And we did have one or two consultants that for that time who wrote an episode or two. And then Cindy came on full time. And then it was the four of us for a long time. So
I didn't remember that either.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And super interesting. I mean, I remember that at a certain point it grew, right? But like to me, I was just so in it, you know?
Right.
And that's the thing too, like rewatching is so fascinating. So many things I don't remember, then weird random things I do remember. Like for instance, in the masked ball,
right.
there's a dress I'm wearing. And this was when, we were shopping at Bloomingdale's, Molly reminded me, and Century 21. Sure. People were not lending us things. Maybe Sarah Jessica, but barely, right? And they were shopping vintage and all of those things. And I remember that I'm wearing like a lavender crystal dress.
Yes.
And I didn't love it in the first place, but Pat and I were just having a time, right? Because Pat wanted me to wear really tight things and I felt very self-conscious. And sometimes I'm wearing my own clothes. Like I'm wearing my own shoes with that dress. There are some clear lucite Prada shoes. I don't know why I bought these shoes. I think in my mind, I was like, what would these very cool women in Sex and the City buy? I'm going to go to Prada. I was like an early Prada person, which I didn't remember. Like that's 1998. Right?
It was the 90s.
I still have those shoes.
See, that's why a Prada piece can last forever.
So
that's
Jenny.
A second conversation for another time when you do your, outfit and wardrobe, fashion-centric podcast. But I actually remember you wearing those shoes, and they looked really good.
Do they? Because I look at them and I'm like, why am I wearing that dress?
First of all, it's the 90s. I mean, there's a lot happening that shouldn't have been happening.
So many things. And now there's like so in. It's crazy to me. Like, it's crazy. But some of it I get, and some of it I'm like, you guys don't bring that back. Don't bring the low-cut jeans back. Please.
Capris don't have to.
Capris, I'm okay. I don't want the low-waisted.
No, the low-waisted seems to be coming back again.
No.
Not for us. It's fine. It's fine.
We're not going to wear it.
No. That shouldn't.
No.
That's
fine
bad.
with capris if you're like on vacation or whatever.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
But they really don't look good on a lot of people.
No, it's true.
Again.
So that dress, that lavender dress, I remember there being a lot of stress about what I would wear to this thing. But also there's the theme, which I love about the disease benefits, which is so true. I mean, you could still, like, this is still going on in New York. Like, if you went to every disease benefit, you could definitely meet some people.
Oh, I mean, for sure.
Yeah, it's a thing.
There are groupies who go to the disease benefits.
I mean, the same people for sure. And it's a lot of people. But I don't have the energy to do that stuff anymore. But that lavender dress, I remember a lot of stress about it. I thought it looked kind of like Mother of the Bride-ish, which I do still think, though it didn't look as bad as I thought when I watched it again. But Pat, being the adorable Pat that she is, had been stressing about it and had come down to the wardrobe trailer the night before and steamed it out because she thought it was too tight on me, which is unusual. She usually would say the opposite. But it was like chiffon with crystals, right?
Yeah.
She didn't want it to pull. So when I came back, it was like this, like muumuu. Like she'd steamed it and it had given it. And I was like, what on earth? I'm going to wear like a lavender muumuu? I was so upset. And then they had sewn the darts in the back, which you see when I'm walking down the hall.
Really?
Yeah, they'd sewn the darts in the back so that it actually had more of an hourglass. I remember.
Yes, I remember. That's why when you say it was a muumuu, I remember it fitting you really perfectly.
Right, because you know how they were amazing, right? Even when we didn't have money, they were amazing. But yeah, no, I had a whole little
But
upset.
the idea that you ever wore your own shoes on that show,
right?
Looking back,
I know.
I mean,
though
that tells you how
where
different.
I'm wearing my whole outfit.
That's insane.
Like there's like a Argyle sweater that I still have that I wore in Carrie's apartment in that episode where we talk about our faults.
Yes.
And I save my thighs.
Yes.
That's my own outfit. And then Darren had to take me out to dinner and say, like, you need to let Pat dress you. And I was like, well, okay, but, you know, she wants me to wear all these tight things, and I just feel very self-conscious.
Right.
And he was like, you just need to trust her. And I'm like, okay, Darren.
And also, let me tell you how to eat a chocolate chip cookie. There's a lot going on.
I know
for
there
you
was
guys.
a lot going on, but I also feel, and we've touched on this a little bit, but I'd love your perspective. You know, I do think people talk about like, oh, how did the chemistry of the cast come together? And, you know, we never had a chemistry. We just showed up and clicked in whatever mysterious way that is. And for me, I think it's a few things. And one is the writing. You know, like we are not anything without the writing. Like actors are not, it's not our personality driving it. I mean, it comes together, but it's the writing, right? So the writing is what was amazing in the beginning, in my mind. But I also feel like all of us had strong and different personalities.
Absolutely.
And that the mix of it created something.
It was a fission or frisson.
Yeah.
Which one? Both.
Yeah.
Like it, and so I would kind of in a way disagree. Like the writing can be there, but I think you all did something. And it is amazing to think there was no chemistry read. Because even in the early days, like when I watch my episode, right, which is episode 8, sitting in the coffee shop, you all are who you are. You all are doing it.
It's true.
Those are those characters already there.
That's true.
And that must have been, I mean, I don't know if you were feeling that at the time.
I don't
you
think
could
I
feel
was.
that kind of connection that you all had.
I think it's interesting to think about because like I said, there's some things I remember like the lavender dress and there's some things that I don't. I just remember like when I look at myself, I think that I seem very young. Like really weirdly young. I don't think I felt young inside, but I seem very young. And I don't know if it's the Charlotte-ness, right?
It might have been the Charlotte-ness.
Because I don't, in my mind, I'd already been through so much in my 20s. I didn't feel like a baby, but I look and seem like younger than them and more unformed, kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like that was who Charlotte was more than I think that worked for the character.
Got it.
But I also think the character, it was interesting watching the episode again, that she was, when she comes in and says, oh, he wants to have a threesome, she's already kind of intrigued with the idea.
Right.
Like there is no rejection of it, which I think is kind of...
It's amazing.
Not very Charlotte.
I
Like
know.
in a way, she was just like...
I know.
Huh,
she's more
maybe
open.
way more
Yes.
open than
Yes.
Then
you think of her in the kind of archetype.
Right.
Yeah.
In the kind of ethos of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, no, she was more just testing the waters. Like he wants to do this. I don't know.
Jenny, I do all kind of crazy shit. in the first season.
Oh my God. Well, you really, I mean,
It's like, I'm shocked every episode. Like, for instance, and we'll do our breakdown of the episode, but when I have the dream of the threesome,
Right.
I'm thinking like, I don't remember that I did a threesome. I literally was like, am I about to kiss these people? Because I have no memory. Oh my God. I was having such a panic watching it last night. But then I'm like, no, it's just a dream. But I don't even remember that. Like, she's very...
surprisingly open.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you fall in love with her is that she's open.
Yeah.
Even though she has fears or concerns, she's not the one who shuts things down.
Right.
She's always trying to figure it out.
That's
and in
true.
that case, she was very open. She's like, what do you think of this? And it's everyone else who kind of has very strong opinions about whether it's a thing or not.
Right.
But I kind of loved looking back. I was like, wow, she really was testing the waters.
Definitely, because the thing that I had remembered about the beginning, and it hasn't even really happened yet, though. I mean, remember when Carrie dates the guy who has a classic 6 and wants to get married and have a baby and has the mobile, and she's like, no, that's not me, and maybe you should date this one, and then I date him, but I don't like his China taste. So hysterical. So she has two things that I don't really remember. One is her incredible choosiness, right? Which I kind of remember, but I just remember the didactic thing that hasn't really happened yet, where I have the book and I'm talking about get the rules and getting married, which those were the hardest scenes for me to do.
I'm sure.
Largely because I had a long speech, usually, that all of them are just like looking at me like, oh God, and rolling their eyes. And it's very hard to learn the long speeches that you guys write because it's so specific and so precisely timed and has to be done perfectly. And I would stress out really, really bad about them. So I remember them. And also, it was so hard because wasn't me, right? So I had to really act and plug in like different things. Like, what if I think about this instead of, getting married? Or what if I think about that? Or let's think about the Southern women that I knew who were focused. Like, you're trying all these different things to make it really deeper than just like an idea, right? I thought that was all I did the whole first season. And in fact, I am way wrong.
You are shaking it. You're making it happen.
You're out there.
You're like, okay, I'll wink at this woman. I don't know. I was like, wow.
I know.
Look at you.
I don't remember any of it either. It's so funny to see because it's so funny. I did that. That's my body. I know I'm up there. I know I'm there, but I don't remember.
Right. You leave your body.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I felt watching it as a writer too. I was like, I wrote that? Okay, I guess I did. I know I did.
Right.
But I don't remember it in the way that I remember it when I wrote it.
It's true. And I don't remember it that way either. And that's the joy of rewatching it.
It is so lovely to rewatch it. And I will say the thing too about Charlotte, and when they would Cosmo and stuff would do these quizzes about who were you, more people thought they were Charlotte. And so I think she was representing a lot of how certain women see the world, like that more traditional, I want to get married, I want to have as much of it all as I can, I want to work in my gallery and also have kids and all of that.
Right.
So I think I never saw you or the character as being kind of young or immature as much as being kind of on the pulse of what most people were thinking.
Right, which is great. And that's why her whole journey has been so interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, incredible to play as an actor.
But we also did that. I mean, I'm sure Michael's talked about this too, is like we always wanted to test each character and give them the one thing that was the hardest thing for them.
Oh, and did you guys ever do that?
We tested. Charlotte got some tests.
Man, I mean, really all of us. Because if you talk to any of us, everyone's like, oh, I was the one who always got embarrassed. And we're like, yeah, that's true. But also I was the one who always got embarrassed. And then the other one will be like, oh, but I always got embarrassed. Remember, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's true. You did get embarrassed.
Yeah, that happened.
Really, all of us did.
Yeah.
But you know what? This was the greatness of the show. Right? Like when people say like, well, why did Carrie do that? And Carrie made some bad decisions. We would not have had a show if she didn't.
Right. Like, she's a person.
Yeah. And also this is hard stuff, trying to figure out who you are and what you want. Right. And you have literally every choice available to you.
Right.
That's also the joy of New York City, especially at that time, out of all the places. I mean, I do feel like now it's still somewhat true, right? Like if you want to test yourself and find out on the sport of life, what you want, go to New York City.
I think that is still true.
I do think it's still true. I do. I mean, it's different now for sure, but I still think that New York is like a beacon call to people who are kind of ambitious and or exploring,
figuring out who they are.
Yeah. Which I think is a great thing.
And that's what, I mean, and we always said this and we still do, that New York is the fifth character in the show.
Absolutely.
And that's how it still feels, is that New York was a grab bag of magic and danger, and it's sexy and it's gritty.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
At any time.
And we took advantage of that for
100%. One of the things that people talk to me, because one of the reasons I wanted to do the podcast is because we've had this incredible fan base for all these many, many years. And now we have all these new fans from Netflix and whatnot, which is amazing, of course, and fascinating generationally.
Yeah.
But one of the things that people talk to me about, like my experience of walking around in the world with people having watched us all this time, which is so amazing, right? And there's so many different storylines through the years that people talk to me about. And it's always super fascinating which things they remember, which things connected with them, how they talk to me about it. They often cry, which is so sweet. You know, it's like so adorable. It's part of the reason I wanted to do this, because I feel like it's just such an incredibly special like experience in life that we're getting to have, you know, to connect with people still over these things. So one of the things they talk to me about, and I hope it's okay, I'm going to talk about this, is breast cancer, the breast cancer.
I'm so happy to talk about
this. Okay, great. So Samantha, as we all know, all the listeners know, had this incredible storyline. Was it season 6 only, or was it 5 and 6?
It was season 6.
Season 6. And it was a great, beautiful storyline. And she did amazing.
She did beautiful work.
And the Smith character, oh my God, so incredible, so incredible. And I look back on that. I mean, I can't wait till we get there to rewatch. But this is based on your experience, Jenny's experience, which was happening while we were doing the show.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but you know how we all would go to work even if we were sick. This is pre-COVID, of course. We would be just, like, I remember all 4 of us being sick, and they would call one of those set doctors, and he would just go dressing room to dressing room. Oh my God, that set doctor. Remember?
Dr. Feelgood.
Don't even say it. And he would hand out Z-Packs. Yeah. Right? He would just be like, here's your Z-Pack, here's your Z-Pack. We would just take so many Z-Packs a season, right? That was just how it was. We had to keep going. The show had to go on. So I remember one day, and I don't know what season it would be. I'm sure you will know. And it was one of your episodes. And I was in hair and makeup, and I had a question about the dialogue. And I was like, you know, can Jenny come to the hair and makeup and talk to me while I'm getting ready? Because I have a question about dialogue. And they said, oh, Jenny's not here. I'm like, well, what do you mean? It's her episode. What? That was unheard of. And they were like, oh, Jenny's not feeling well. And I'm like, what? Like, does she have a huge fever?
Where's her Z-Pack?
I know. Yeah. I was like, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was when you had been diagnosed or were getting diagnosed.
I was probably
but literally no one told
chemo.
Me. No one told me.
Wow.
No one told me. Cut to, it's Revlon Run Walk time. And Lily Tartikoff, the incredible, sweet woman, asked me to be one of the host committee where you go and it's this big thing in Times Square and there's just, you know, thousands of people going to do the run walk. And you get up on stage and talk, and I'm always terrified, but I was like, yes, of course I'll do it. Because they were doing such incredible research at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I go, and all the writers came. I was like, they're just being so supportive because I still know nothing about
Unbelievable.
You. Then we're walking through Central Park, right? We're doing the actual run walk, and different ones are coming up to me crying, like, it's so amazing that you're doing this. And I'm like, well, thank you. I'm just like
doing it as a favor for someone.
What's going on? Like, I had no idea.
I have to tell you, that is a testament to so many things. I had the worst wigs ever known to man. Like, so bad that once I spent an entire day wearing one of them backwards. And I did not even know.
I do think that's how I finally figured out. I think that's how I finally figured out.
I don't even know. Here I am in New York, the land of where you think you could get good wigs. I don't know. Or I just didn't I don't know.
Maybe your mind was just not on that.
I think my mind was not on it. But I will say that, and we'll talk about the Samantha storyline of it, that it was actually Michael's idea to do it. Like I was working on the show, but I was quite tired, but I would show up and we'd hang out in the room and he's like, we're doing your storyline. Like, he just...
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, wait, what? I don't know if I'm and it wasn't that I was uncomfortable telling the story. I was more like I was in it. So it was hard to imagine being able to write about it.
You were still in it.
Still in it.
Wow.
Still in it.
I don't think I realized that either.
And, but in retrospect, it was, I mean, what a miraculous thing to be able to do. There were so many miraculous things about and I am fine now. I've been fine for over 25 years.
Yes, amazing.
But that HBO allowed me to continue to work and allowed me the grace to go and have my chemo and then come to work.
Wow.
And that to be able to write about the thing that's the most painful, whether it's like a bad date or going through cancer, is a gift.
Yeah.
Like then you get to put it out there and it's not scary. People can relate.
Right.
You know,
so many people.
I felt like I was helping people.
You were, yes.
But it helped me, like to be able to write it. Now, of course, the way Samantha went through it was way more Samantha than me.
Of course.
I mean, she was wearing the pink wigs.
Of course.
She was owning it.
She was, yes.
And I think that was a great way for me to kind of live through her, to do it the way she would do it.
Yeah.
As opposed to me kind of crawling my way through with bad wigs. But and Michael was a gift to me during that time.
Yeah.
How did you know? Like there was a point where I had, because they were giving me steroids, like I blew up like a Michelin man. And Michael so kindly, he called it my cocoon of healing.
Oh my God.
That's so sweet of you.
That's adorable.
That's adorable.
I mean, this might have been when I figured it out. I mean, I did figure it out at some point, but then I was like, why did no one tell me?
I kind of figured everybody knew, but.
I mean, I think it was more like, because I do think that as close as we all were, we also had a mission, right?
Right.
And our mission was like work all night. You know what I mean? And I think that Sarah Jessica, I went to Sarah Jessica at one point. I was like, Sarah Jessica,
what's going on?
Did he have cancer?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? Yeah. And she was like, she didn't want anyone to know, and she just wanted to work, and I wanted to respect that. And I was like, I'm so glad, but also like, I feel horrible.
I'm not really sure that was the case, but I think it was really respectful of people not to, because I think also I certainly at the time did not want to be seen as a sick person.
I think that's what it was. Meaning like not call attention. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I wanted to be the person I was, and of course I wasn't at that time,
right,
in retrospect.
Right.
But I
but
wanted
that's
to
what
feel...
You needed. You have to do what you need.
And being in that room, it was its own medicine.
Right.
Being on that set.
Right. Good.
Like to tell those stories was
because I wasn't really sure, because then I felt really bad that I hadn't known and that I hadn't been.
Oh my God, you've been holding on to this for a really long
I've been dying
time.
to talk to you about it. Because like also then like whenever I did figure out, like I didn't want to make a big deal that I hadn't known, because then I was like, I'm just really dense that I didn't know. Like, I don't think anyone lied. I just think that everyone just either assumed
being
I knew.
Respectful.
Right. And I think they assumed I knew,
and that
too,
was lovely.
Right? So like, yeah,
it was.
Which I get. But then I was like, oh, that's why they were all crying at the Revlon Run Walk.
Huh. I thought they were just moved by me, but no,
I thought they were moved by all the people, because when you are there, you're just like, you can't believe how many people are going through it. And also family members are there to support other people. It's like, you know, I would cry every time I went, right? It was a lot. But the fact that you were going through it at the time that we were all working was just incredible to me.
It was to have that show and to have the support of everybody while I was going through it. People don't have that in the real world.
I mean,
you get sick
and
there are not employers who say, please keep working. Meaning I wanted to, and they said, yes, please.
Thank God. Yes. Yeah. No, but I get
what
it. No.
And a writer's room that said, oh, listen, just lie down on the couch. It's fine. You know, we'll go down to set and cover it. You know, it was really lovely. Now I'm going to start crying. Anyway, it was
okay.
really special.
We can cry. We can cry.
We can laugh.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But it is one of those things, too, where I mean, like, out of all the different things that happen, and so many things happen, obviously, like, over the years. But, I mean, that is a very unique and interesting thing that you went through, and then to be able to contribute it to the show. And that's why I brought it up, is that people still talk to me about this.
It means so much to me that it mattered. I mean, in retrospect, I never would have suggested we do it. So I'm so glad Michael did that.
100%.
And it's funny, just 3 or 4 days ago, I got an email from my surgeon who I hadn't heard from.
I remember her.
Well, no, Dr. McAndrew was my oncologist, who we used in her name, but we also used my surgeon's name, Dr. Steiner, and he said his 14-year-old was watching Sex and the City. 14, little young, but 14-year-old grandchild.
Okay, it's not young now.
It's not young now, which is, oh, God bless all of you who have children.
Exactly.
and she heard his name and was like, "Was that you?"
That's
and he wrote to me and
amazing.
he's like, "It means so much to me that you gave me a shout out." I was like, "You saved my life. Of
That's
course, I'm gonna give you a shout out."
That's amazing. But also,
Yeah.
like, to have it be on film, right?
Yeah.
So that means that even, like, people will talk to me now, and I'm going to cry because, you know, so many people, I'm sure
Yeah.
you do too now, so many people who've gone through it. And it's so great to have it there so that, you know, people say to me like, "Oh, when I was finishing my chemo and that storyline came on, and, you know, Samantha was such a powerful
Yeah.
character, and people had so much, like respect and love for like her power in life, and to have her be the one who went through that was so amazing to watch, and beautifully written, obviously, and beautifully acted." And they still talk to me about, "Oh, I was going through it then." And then people now, because it's on Netflix, it's available to all people at all times. And it's just such a strong, strong testament. And we're a half-hour comedy show.
Right.
It's
Right.
amazing.
And they let us do that.
Yes. And you guys did it so brilliantly. And it's still funny and still deep.
And heartbreaking
And
and all of that.
heartbreaking,
And
all of it.
I feel like we were able to do that with a bunch of things, right? Like when you think about Miranda losing her mother.
Oh my God.
I
yeah.
mean, that
Such
episode.
a brilliant episode.
Oh my God.
One of my
written by
all-time
Julie and
favorites.
Elisa.
Yes.
So emotional and heartbreaking, and yet like life affirming.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's about
yeah.
friendships and who supports you in
Like
these
chosen
moments.
family.
Chosen family.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
in the end we all say that's what the show was.
I think absolutely.
It's about the four of you in the relationship.
Yeah.
I'm saying you like you're the character.
No, I know.
I am.
Well, listen, I can't ever say the right names. I'm like, and then Sarah did this. Oh, I mean Carrie.
I mean Carrie. That girl Carrie.
Yeah.
But I think because we and that was the other thing that made the show so unique. There weren't that many shows that were that bordering tonally comedy and tragedy.
Right.
And sometimes you would laugh, as Michael would say, like if you could laugh in the episode once and cry once, that's a great episode.
Which is amazing. I mean, I feel like people now do it more now that they're streaming.
Yeah.
And you can binge and it gives some tonal freedom. But I think when we were still, on the proper television, HBO was really kind of on the forefront of letting us do all the things.
Yeah. And that was okay. It was okay to have those moments and not have someone talking all the time. Like just sit in a moment and look at someone's face and know what they were feeling instead of it being joke.
Totally.
So I think, the cancel line was only one of a couple that we were able to do and get away with it.
Charlotte, infertility.
The infertility.
Right.
I mean, and there's so many women still going
a lot
through
of people
it.
talk to me about that.
Yeah, I'm sure they stop you all the time and talk about that.
They do. They also talk to me a lot about Judaism.
Well, how about that?
I know.
I mean, that was the big test that we wanted to give Charlotte was, what if she comes up against someone like that? Someone that you don't expect her to fall in love with.
Right.
And the Judaism was only part of the whole package of this kind of brusque guy who's he's the opposite of Trey, who was everything that she thought she wanted, who ended up being just a misfire, literally and figuratively.
I know, which is still so sad.
I know.
But so glorious at the same time.
And Kyle was so fantastic.
So good.
I mean, no one else could have done it the way he did.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the other thing is once we got going, we did have our magic. And then the people that you guys chose, to add to the mix were all so perfect and great.
Well, it also got easier as time went on because people they knew the show, they wanted to be on the show.
Which is a great thing.
Which is such a moment.
Such a moment.
There were a lot of moments like that.
So many moments. All right. Thank you, Jenny, for coming.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to have been here.
Joy.
What a joy.
What a joy.
What a trip down memory lane.
I know. And it's fun to take it with you.
We could do it again.
We can do it again. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
When I sit by you guys,
I know.
I feel so lucky.
I could not agree more. And I think we as writers say this to each other all the time is we were all so lucky.
So lucky.
So lucky to have this moment in time.
To be there.
And none of that has to do with any of the kind of accolades or anything that came with it. It was being able to be raw and honest and funny and real and be with each other.
Yeah.
And take that trip.
And make this thing.
That turned out people liked.
It was amazing. And I mean, we would have loved it anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But then it was like icing on the cake.
Turns out others liked it too.
Kept going. It was so crazy. It's still so crazy. So thank you.
Thank you.
For all of your contributions. So many. And also, see, I learned this whole thing. I didn't know that you were there so early with Jess, Michael, and Darren.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
image.
its own
I'm gonna
sitcom.
be thinking about that 100%.